Countdown engaged. We are live. Where did my guests go? Let a couple more folks come on in to the party before we get started. Looking forward to having everybody here. Please feel free to jump into the chat and let us know where you're checking in from around the world. We love to see sort of our global reach and where all our friends are at on the map. So. Hello, Vegas, Houston, Norway. I'm based in Austin, Texas myself, but I just was out in Istanbul and Bursa, Turkey with a stop into Amsterdam on the way home. So much love for everyone around the world. Copenhagen.
Yeah, good.
Our special guests have entered the chat, so stoked about that as well. Coming in from Nashville. We'll let them introduce themselves in a moment. Ciudad de México. Buenas.
Hola.
Lisbon, Zurich, Jersey. Love to see it. Love to see it.
Miami, we were just there a couple weeks ago. Nice. Love Miami.
Medellin, France. Beautiful.
Colombia.
Well, we'll let everybody keep straggling on in, and we will get started since we do have a couple of different things we'd love to cover for you all today. Really just thrilled to have you here. My name's Lou, but before we get started with our intros, just wanted to cover a couple of housekeeping items. We will be recording this event and making it available video on demand, so please don't stress too much about taking too many notes. If you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat or in the questions section to the right of your screen. We are hoping to have a Q&A session to close out this event that we can address some of these topics within. And as well, just please flex in the chat. Let us know when you're excited about things, when you have questions about things. Hey, Lena in Bloomington. Loved my time there for the Secretly Summit. Lovely to have you. So without further ado, looking forward to diving in. And to get started, I think we're just going to do a quick roundtable on who we have here today with us. So my name is Lou Pratt. I am a senior customer success manager here at Linkfire with a 10-year career on the music and tech side, both in the label agency and on the creative side as an artist manager, and an advisor myself. Really thrilled to be helping bridge the gap between operations, narrative, data, and ideas for both my customers and for the Linkfire company and the ecosystem that we've been able to help connect. And within that ecosystem, I've been really blessed to connect with a handful of talented folks and innovating businesses. And one of those we have here with us today is the Upstate Sound, a modern music business, multi-pronged business based out of Nashville. So would love to have David and Dylan quickly introduce themselves before we dive into our festivities.
Yeah, thanks, Lou. I'm Dave. I'm a record producer and songwriter and founder of the Upstate Sound. We like to call ourselves a new age label because we're structured a little differently on how we like to do things. We have like signed artists like EJ the Maker, Blow, Sergio's Backpack, Jack Rosie's, King Lazy Eye. And like the way we're kind of set up is we have separate subsidiary companies within our, holding company where records is separate, management separate, publishing separate. We have studio services and also live events and all that. And we wanted to depend on ourselves to, help our artists out. So, yeah.
Cool. And I'm Dylan. I have a background in marketing and a marketing consultant, and essentially came down here to Nashville a few years ago, started these companies with my brother, and been building them up ever since. I focus a lot on management, so I'm a lot more on the business structure side, making sure that our artists have the right tools and resources to build their artistry. So that's my main focus, and that's how we come across some of these tools like Linkfire.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thrilled to have you here. Excited to have you so energized about some of the products and have been a part of the Next Gen Bio link process before rollout, having spent some time with y'all during Music Business Nashville Week. We had a great time chatting all things music and music promo, and it's nice to sort of tie some of those threads together here and help bring some of that value to everyone else that couldn't be so lucky to chill with us in the studio those days. So our agenda for today, we're going to start with some of these things that have been new at Linkfire this year. We're going to jump in and chat quickly about the QR code generator that was launched for essential subscriptions and up earlier this summer. We're also going to cover some of the details around the Apple Music streaming insights and how they have developed with our exclusive partnership with Apple Music. And lastly, we're going to cover sort of the champion of the event, the Next Generation BioLink that we have just recently rolled out, something we are incredibly excited for as an organization and across the teams that worked on it, and that we feel is an incredibly powerful tool for you to integrate alongside the rest of the suite of Linkfire gadgets that we have for you. And we'll wrap up with a Q&A at the end as well. So since we have some of our visitors, some of our viewers are not customers at present or are newer to the Linkfire world, I just wanted to quickly give a brief top down on Linkfire as an org and as a vision. Linkfire works to empower entertainment discovery everywhere, and has been passionate about making entertainment marketing easy as well. So here at Linkfire, we work to optimize impact, to help drive streams and increase ticket sales, recommend audio content across billions of fans and listeners on a global scale. We have a SaaS marketing platform that helps transform music marketing, and we're now building out a global recommendation network for audio entertainment discovery to connect even more fans and listeners to the content that they love. So Linkfire's customers and partners include some of the most prominent artists on the Billboard's Hot 100, major music labels, independent music labels, independent creators, as well as a lot of the businesses around them in the ecosystem, publishing, social media, etc., that make this all possible. And so with that vision in mind, we have continued to push to develop new features for our suite of technology to help move your needle forward. And with that, we are excited to jump in and chat about some of those things that were major for us here in this year, 2022. So one of those first things that we'll be discussing is the QR code generator. We dropped the QR code generator earlier this summer. And as I mentioned, any subscriptions at Essentials level or above has a quick and easy way to generate, grab, and deploy QR codes for any variety of business use cases, any promo use cases that you might have. And really, it's so simple that it's pretty much just laid out for me to jump on and show you how easy it is to grab a QR code at present. While I'm swapping over to the platform, Dave and Dylan, would love to just hear a little bit from you guys about how you've perceived QR codes developing in the market over the last couple of years, and just sort of comment on how you stay on top of new dynamic tools as the industry changes, and what you look for as you sort of grab at them to experiment.
So with the pandemic hitting and everything, the QR codes became much more used. Like even if you were able to get to like a restaurant or something, menus, we weren't using anything that we touched anymore. It was just phones, and QR codes were on like the tables and stuff like that. So it's still lasting to this day right now. And how we like to use like the QR codes, since we're in Nashville and we basically work with the misfits, you know, hip hop, pop music and all that, we have to do things a little bit differently. And Linkfire's QR codes really help us out with that. So like house parties are getting a lot more trendier now, pop-up shows, stuff like that. So what we do is we'll create like a little flyer like this, you know, have the QR code on there, and that kind of acts as like a ticket to get into the house party. So it'll lead to like the artist's Spotify page, and you just, you know, follow and like the artist, and that's your access into the house party that, you know, EJ's throwing with his Bad Weather Squad, you know. So
amazing.
That's one example.
Yeah. You know, those types of cross collaborative efforts can be really easy to identify when you're just out in the mix promoting events or trying to find new partners. So finding these easy ways to activate without friction can be really powerful. Say, for example, shout out to Naxos, a premier classical music brand, and one of our favorite customers, really in the weeds when it comes to the platform. If we needed to, promote one of their events, maybe at a coffee shop or at a physical business that had a brand alignment to the music, you could simply click get. Whereas you are going to grab one of your smart links in the same way that you would be grabbing a landing page link or a direct to service link, jumping over the landing page, you can click QR code 2. And you can click create, capitalizing on the same type of tagging system, the channel tags and the activity IDs that you would be to collect insights within regular links. So as simple as clicking create, grabbing either a PNG or an SVG, downloading your QR code file, and then applying it to whatever activation you may have at present.
Yeah, and like other ways we're going to be utilizing the QR code is we're right next to a college, Belmont University. There's a lot of foot traffic that goes by our offices, so we want to put out an artist wall out there, with the artist pictures and like the QR code there, so they can go to the new link in bio, and then there's a lot of students that walk down there. Yeah,
it's something else that I'm looking forward to do is with the activity ID, we're going to be able to do a little more tactical marketing with our guerrilla marketing. So we could print up several posters with one set of activity IDs and then another set of posters with a different set of activity IDs. And that way we can test areas of Nashville that the posters seem to actually get traction from, for example. And it's definitely, like we mentioned earlier, because of the pandemic, every single camera on every smartphone now, you hold it up and it grabs that QR code real quick. The fact that, you can even take pictures of them now and pull them up from the pictures, it definitely makes it way more versatile than it was, back in like 2011 when this thing first came out.
And there's also like a curiosity to it now. Like if you just see a random QR code, you're like, oh, what's that? So like another guerrilla marketing tactic that we're thinking of is one of the students have classes on Music Road down the street. So like when they're walking to class, you could spray paint a QR code on the sidewalk and they're already looking down on their phone. They're already listening to something, So
Definitely.
You could scan that, be like, oh, a new song. Interesting. Who's this guy?
Yeah, I think all of those ideas are super relevant, and they all sort of tie in why QR codes can be so valuable to our marketing efforts. QR code, images can be worth 1,000 words, pictures worth 1,000 words. So whereas trying to communicate things via words or via other types of messaging might have friction points, being able to slap a QR code along with other types of messaging or other types of imagery and have it be sort of a smoothed out experience can be really valuable. Also, as you mentioned, sort of with these different postering efforts, the guerrilla marketing tactics, trying to quantify things that would be very difficult to outside of, digital means. Using QR codes in some of those efforts can help us track what was untrackable.
And you had the idea the other day, or we were chatting about it, a QR code like within a shirt tag or something. We told one of our artists that. He's like, yes, I'm going to do that. You can put like a cryptic code in there and it leads to like maybe an unlisted YouTube video, that gives you access, or it's another clue to the next thing, like engage people.
Yeah, definitely. So whereas there might be things that you can apply QR codes to help streamline points of friction and sort of make certain processes easier, I definitely am with you on that. Like elevate your customer experience, help delight your super fans as well as your new fans.
Yeah.
And I know from my own experience, purchasing different types of streetwear or different types of clothing around different types of cultures, whether it's snowboarding culture or whether it's music merch, those little sort of elements can really help differentiate and make the difference and make both your fans or just people that are consuming and purchasing things because of the vibe.
Yeah, it makes it personal too. And it's like, oh, it's uniquely, not everyone's going to get that,
Yeah. So love the discourse here. I think that it's super valuable. I think that we've discussed a couple of these actionable ideas already. But overall, finding ways to tie these QR codes to live activations and things that you're doing sort of in physical space around other people are super valuable. I think on the flip side of that coin, finding ways to incorporate QR codes into your live streamed events and digital activations that are more time locked or more specific to an actual moment of exclusivity.
Oh, I just thought
could
of
be cool.
something. I just thought of something. Sorry. You know the watermark on like live streams or YouTube videos? That could be a QR code.
100%.
Oh,
So right
yeah.
there, digital materials, adding the QR codes onto your digital materials, finding ways to sort of continue to add layers of information or ease of experience to how fans are engaging with our stuff. And all over sort of tying that together with super fans and finding ways to sort of just make their experience that much more fun, more gamified, more personal, more for them to love and to sort of appreciate within their own like loyalty to you as a brand or as an artist.
Everyone loves Easter eggs.
Easter eggs.
100%. And we love Easter eggs too. I think that one of the main sort of through lines with Linkfire since its inception has been to illuminate data for our customers and for artists so that they can identify some of these through lines, some of these small moments or pieces of insight that they can tie to their strategies for promo and then, come up with effective results on the back end. So as we sort of jump from QR codes into our Apple Music streaming insights, I think that's really where we're resonating. Finding more ways to unlock effectiveness with the information that we have at our disposal and trying to collect more of that information and display it for all of the labels, artists that we have in our mix. So obviously today we're going to be focusing on our Apple Music streaming insights and how they've developed. And we're really excited about it. So in addition to our exclusive partnerships with YouTube, Pandora, and Deezer in 2019, we were able to roll out how things translate on Apple Music via an exclusive partnership that was launched. Since then, major labels, major brands like Atlantic Records, all the way down to individual creators have been able to utilize these Apple Music streaming insights to understand their fan base and to help optimize their release campaigns. And our relationship and our partnership has only since grown with Apple Music over the last 3 years. And we are proud to see, more and more songs, 90 million songs living in the Apple Music space, and all of the advancements that Apple Music is making for their listener experience, finding ways for us to capitalize on the data collected to improve the music marketing efforts of all of those within our ecosystem. And as we sort of jump in and start to cover some of the journey around insights, around Apple Music Insights specifically, Dave and Dylan would love to hear a little bit from you guys on sort of just how, your relationship with streaming and streaming data has evolved over the years, and those types of things that maybe you consider important as you dive into tools like the Apple Music Streaming Insights to see where you can dig in and where you can find opportunity.
Yeah, so one of the big things that we're going to be looking at is a lot of our artists like to be very creative with their works. And, one of our artists in particular is extremely genre loose, like he's all over the place. And so one of the things that we'll be looking into is that with Apple streaming data, we can actually see what song they might listen to at our entry point and then what song they might jump to. And we can also basically figure out if they leave after listening to that one song, if that's not doing well. Like if we're seeing that there's clicks happening, but we're not even getting that 30-second listen, then okay, maybe that's not hitting with our current fan base that we're pushing towards. So it's definitely valuable for tracking that. And then I believe the other thing you can track is cities and countries. And so because of that, eventually what we can do is we can go, all right, this particular set of listeners is very adamant about what we're pushing. So let's run more advertisements towards that. Or let's say we've already hit up a bunch of cities, but we seem to be missing some that are laying in the same area. That's another place that we actually have where there's nobody listening to it that we can target and try to actually get new listeners.
Amazing. Yeah. And I think here, as we sort of dive deeper into the fan journey, we're trying to uncover some of those insights. And with our Apple Music Insights expansions, we have some of those things covered with our daily, weekly, and monthly reporting options. We have some of those expanded add to library stats and more that are becoming presentable within our Linkfire insights. So here we have some of those major value adds listed out. We get a deeper streaming overview and those add to library stats in particular, starting to understand sort of a heat map of what products are actually resonating with the fans. and potentially even bringing them back for more bites at the apple. Seeing plays by the same artists, are fans digging into your catalog as an artist after finding their way to one of your products via a Linkfire link, or are they moving to consume other products, or completely bouncing, finding ways to optimize both what you create and how you roll it out with some of this data. And then, as you guys mentioned, the city and country data being huge. There really isn't a reason to adhere to the old school mentality of conquer a home market first and then expand, when we can be sort of globally minded and targeting fans all around the world. I think the most important thing about a fan is that they're interested in consuming our product. So no reason for us to sort of pigeonhole to somewhere specifically. When we are communicating globally, having these city and country breakdowns really help us be more tactical and specific when it comes to expanding those ideas of where we operate and how we activate some of those fan bases.
Yes.
So along with that, there are a few ways that we can utilize this data. We can utilize it in our process of getting to know our fans, identifying key markets, as well as evaluating our campaign performance and how things run. I'm going to quickly jump over to the platform and give us a look at some of these Apple Music insights in particular. I have a link pulled up here from one of our customers, Magic Music, who is a great electronic music imprint. And here we have sharing this tab, Apple Music streaming insights. In particular, this is a link for a gaming playlist that Magic Music has been promoting to quite successful effect, and has been leveraging the Apple Music insights to help them understand where they have more opportunity to grow. So here within your insights, you have some top-down information on your products and some metrics around streams related to the direct link you've shared, adds to library, streams by same artist if you are promoting a specific single or a specific single artist product, or adds to library from the direct list. In this case, because it is a playlist product that's being promoted, the streams and adds to libraries are more on a track-by-track basis, which can help Magic Music identify what types of songs are more or less hot or desirable within their playlist programming, and how they can continue to build playlist products for their audience.
It's actually something interesting. If anyone tried to build their own playlist and then inject their own artist into that playlist, it's a great way to see if your artist is getting traction amongst the other great songs that are on there.
100%. I think that, programmatic playlists, algorithmic playlists on streaming platforms, but also personally curated playlists are still a significant part of most people's strategies. So, part of that is reactive and consumption based, but part of that is also what we can push proactively with our audiences, the volume of posts that we're putting out for these types of products, and how we address the insights that we collect around them, right? And how we sort of adapt the process. So in this case, we can tell that there are certain tracks that are getting more streams and maybe deserve more priority in the actual the order of the songs on the playlist. When it comes to ads and consumption based on countries and cities, there's just more insight to unlock based on where people are actually consuming. And I'm hoping that my sharing of the screen isn't slowing down my data presenting too much. But in this case, we will shortly be able to see some of those cities and countries as such. So we can see a bit more of a discrete breakdown on streams, direct and indirect, as well as ads, direct and indirect, with the products, meaning either they were added or streamed directly after converting via the smart link, or if they have returned back to the product after experiencing other items on the streaming platforms. But in this case, tying these playlists out to live event strategy or to other types of promo opportunities, having something as granular as a city breakdown, top 5, 10, 20 cities, tying that to additional streaming, ticketing, distro information, and coming up with that holistic understanding of your activities, your approach, can be just really powerful, I think.
I just thought of another thing too. A lot of people drop singles and then they'll release an album with the collective. Something else that would help is actually your track list and what order to actually put your songs in, because typically you want like your top three tracks in the first 5 songs, because you want to make sure that you hook people before they bounce. So that's actually something interesting as well, is that if you've got a playlist with a couple of your songs in there, it's definitely a powerful tool to be able to organize them when you go to release like an LP or an album.
Most definitely. I think that we've sort of discussed this before, but the attribution or the crossover from platform to platform can be really tricky to understand, especially on platforms like TikTok or YouTube Shorts, Instagram, where music is directly involved. And yes, some of these data points can just really be helpful in tying together the bigger picture. So let me switch back over to my slides. And as we've sort of seen within the platform itself, getting to know our fans and identifying these markets can really help us evaluate our campaign performance overall and help us push ahead towards that next level of success. So I think without further ado, tying together the insights, the QR codes and all, we've really been pushing as an org to implement this new vision for our next generation BioLink, and to move forward into sort of the future of Linkfire when it comes to the collective next gen vision for our landing pages and for our links. And overall, our next gen BioLink is that next best foot forward, and we're really thrilled to have it finally out in the marketplace for everybody to get their hands on, to get creative with, and to deploy for all your amazing artists and for your products. Obviously, sort of the concept of a BioLink has become more common in our industry over the last couple of years. But overall, the next-gen BioLink is one of the newest additions to our holistic Linkfire suite, whereas we can continue to elevate and create better experiences for our discovery of music, for our fans, reaching the consumption of their products, and overall for us as marketers collecting and leveraging the data that comes with it. So Dave and Dylan, would love to hear a little bit from you guys, sort of just on how you've perceived BioLinks and why this style of link has become so important to the market and maybe to you and your artists as we've gotten into this year.
Yeah. First off, I love the way the customization is. We love to create a world for that, the customer can kind of come in and see the artist and see like, oh, he sounds like this. This is what the aesthetic is. You're getting like all this information all in one, bio. And being able to add the music videos in there that are automatically playing, that adds so much more movement to the bio. It doesn't keep it stagnant. And, you can just kind of scroll through it and really see what the artist has to offer, Yeah,
and I think the world building is so important, because like we were talking about before with like the Easter eggs and QR codes, with this, it's more like if someone finds, this artist on social platforms or anywhere, and we want to really jump them into a world, this is one of the best ways we can do it. Right now, our website actually, which we're like kind of revamping, we were about to build a bunch of artist pages, and I said, you know what, for now, let's actually redirect them to this bio, because it's already really well done. It already has all the visuals we're really going to be looking for, and then we can track the data from it after that. So that was actually like a super helpful thing when we were trying to restructure the website, and that's how beautiful it is. We were able to do it and make it look like it's our real artist page.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that overall, these types of microsites have become just a necessity as far as flexibility goes. The idea of like how an artist activates and promotes themselves has changed drastically over the last 20 years. And it isn't just, releases and live shows that are pushing the needle. It's all types of fan activations. It's experiences, it's merch products, it's cross-industry ideas, right? So having this new sort of BioLink type and this next-gen BioLink style of creation gives you that ability to create a dynamic asset and promote it for whatever use case you might have, whether that's external to your sort of, your process creatively, or even internally within your organization or within your workflow as sort of a team or a business unit. No reason why you can't, leverage and utilize your link in bio via Linkfire to help with things like, presenting information across public relations needs, or around partnerships and influencer management. Or just general culture and team building, creating shout outs for your top employees or something, and giving a quick highlight of some of their work on a link in bio. Branding, live preview, and design customizations, all super, important, but all wrapped within those same types of powerful insights that the Linkfire suite has to offer as far as your engagement goes and your trackability. It's still super important to understand, once fans are getting their hands on these links, how they're engaging with them, and what it means for us.
One of the other things I really am adamant about too is, like, when you're in the entertainment industry in general, it's very powerful to have this, like you were saying, like a branded website. Like, it needs to look beautiful. Like, a lot of link in bios are, essentially, just buttons. And in this case, like, you're really trying to stand out. You're not just, selling like a hammer, to solve someone's problem. You're really trying to bring a world to them, and the only real way to do that is to envelop everything in it. That's why the background, the profile photo, all the images, the live videos, all of those tools make it really nice.
Most definitely. And I think our team tried to solve that, or add to that solution via a flexible block system. So our next graphic here showcases some of those different blocks and how they sort of come together to create various types of next-gen bio links. So we have things as simple as a link block, whereas you can drive to a specific link destination, potentially incorporating some of the other Linkfire landing pages you've already created, and present them in a tangible way here in a link in bio, things like reward links or playlist links. We also have streamlined social blocks, where you can quickly have fans identify social platforms that they should be pushing towards and following for more content and more, of that world that you're trying to immerse them in. We also have those things like text blocks and more visually image blocks and video blocks, so you can more directly integrate the visual experience you're trying to convey. And again, sort of with that picture's worth 1,000 words, video worth more. Things are still so visual these days when it comes to short form content, when it comes to impressing sort of your brand and what it means to your fans. So having ways to do that, in a stylized fashion can be really powerful.
Yeah. Something we like to use also is the artist logo to separate blocks, from the music, from the music videos to like the merch down here to the shows. Because like if you keep seeing a logo over and over again, you start to remember in it, and that could be like their merch logo, and then you just put a link to their merch page, when they click on the logo. Even with the music videos picture you have right there, like that music video link goes to like the playlists of all their music videos. So it's always thinking customer service, making it as easy as possible for the consumer.
Yeah, that's the nice thing with the PNG files. Like, you can make it blend in with the the site itself, or the microsite, right? The whole idea of having the logo just floating there looks awesome. You can, if you got some like really customized font, you can just create an image and then make it as big as you want, and essentially direct it places, as opposed to it just being text.
100%. I think that some of these elements are, again, similar to the QR code conversation about like streamlining the experience, making it that much easier to find and get to the information you want. And some of it's more about delighting, right? And about sort of creating the experience that will help cement that moment or that appreciation for the artist, their intention, their vision, etc. I think that one block that we're missing that was too hot off the press to get in our graphic was an email capture block. I think that email marketing is still pretty cornerstone, I think, to many approaches. Even on the independent artist side, like, people really shouldn't overlook how powerful it is to own, an email list of 100 or more. Starting small is where it all sort of grows from, and just popping an email capture block on your link in bio can help, skim some of those contacts off the top of your fan base and get you plugged into some of those super fans to really access them and get them the information that they're looking for.
I was gonna say emails are super important just because, you know, if you've got a Facebook fan page and, you know, your page can get closed or your account could get locked or whatever it might be, where if you've got emails and you got them on an Excel sheet, right? Like, because most email platforms, regardless of what you hook up to it, you can print it out in an Excel sheet or a CSV file. And like, that's your audience. Like, you own that list. And that's probably one of the most powerful tools you can have as an artist. In fact, one of the artists that we have on board, the reason we brought him on board was, you know, he had a decent social following, he had some good music, and then we found out, wow, this guy's been capturing emails as an indie artist. Like, yeah, this guy means business. We're like, that's.
He didn't even know why he was capturing them. He just knew he needed the email list. Yeah, you know, and then we're like, wow, all right.
And it can be used for so many reasons. You know, as a marketer, I use email lists to create Facebook audiences for advertising, so you can do retargeting. Which is super powerful. You can create lookalike audiences. So it's definitely a powerful tool. And we were talking about how the email block came out recently, and we just added it to a couple of our profiles. So now we're going to be using that too.
Amazing. I think as I switch over to the platform to chat a little bit about y'all's bio links, you know, part of having leverage in some of our back-end conversations in the business is having the narrative and then the data to go alongside it. And I think that with some of these bio links, we can, you know, start to leverage some of that data that we collect and help marry it to the narrative we're trying to create with the actions we choose when it comes to activating our artists or promoting our products. And when it comes to trying to find new avenues to do so and new partners, being able to sort of speak to things like your email list and how you know, source emails via your bio strategy, your link in bio strategy. Those are all valuable in helping impress that you mean business, you know, as a music brand, and that, you know, some of the things that we're leveraging and hoping to get people's attention to, you know, have that value. But would love to jump in a little bit and discuss some of the bio links that you guys have created. I saw my colleague Jess sharing some of them in the chat, but I wanted to jump in on platform on the edit side and just sort of chat with you guys a little bit on some of these elements and how you sort of came about creating this experience, having the live preview, both in the creation of next-gen bio links, but also here in the presentation of them, makes it nice and easy for me to sort of scroll and show off to the audience how you guys decided to lay out and organize some of the info. But would love to get a little bit of a background from you on sort of how you got into this sandbox and made a castle out of it.
Yeah. So when I was first experimenting with Blows, he's like the artist we always experiment new things on because he's all about like cyberpunk and like all this, you know, technology stuff. So we like to find like little strategic ways to, you know, utilize his stuff. And I wanted to, you know, try something new. So I was, you know, messing around on Canva and wanted to, and made the fonts bigger. And a different, you know, just help with the world building, because fonts are important. I wanted to try a different font and learn that if you had a transparent background, you can add them into the picture down at the bottom when you're creating as a clickable link. And you just make it the 4:1 ratio, and then it squeezes it together, and then it looks like that, you know, separating the artist by name. And it just kind of, it just looked really cool. So we started applying that to all the artists, and then we would make the, you know, music, like the music videos logo a little bit bigger, or merch logo a little bit bigger. And, you know, trying out different backgrounds and using the different features that Linkfire has with like the blur or the fade, you know, that really made, you know, that picture in the background look really cool, actually. And it also, we used it as our slogan up there as well. Like a new age label we like to promote, because we're really, we see, I think in today's age, record labels and artists should see themselves more as media companies, where you're always trying to capture the attention of an audience.
Right.
So I think that's like the best way to go about it. You shouldn't just promote, like you shouldn't just market your audience. You should market yourselves as well, like the companies. And I think we kind of nailed it with this link in bio, and we really, you know, love how it turned out.
Yeah, definitely just an impressive sort of cohesive impression of the label. I think when we were sort of running through our tech run chat, you mentioned how even something as small as like including the pirate flag emoji and having some of that like brand impression of like the core values of sort of, rebelliousness or on sort of challenging type of mentality, like adding those small details, similar to our conversation around QR codes on tags and stuff. Those little details.
It's adding character to it. It's like whatever you want your brand to portray. Like I was just messing around with our podcast the other day, and we did something like this to it, where the header we used the Upstate Sound Presents, and then used one of the image as the actual logo instead of using like the header profile that's a circle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you can. There's so many. I love this bio. It's cool. You can do so many things with it.
Yeah, it's great to sort of find those avenues of sort of stretching the platform where you can sort of make it work for you. This is obviously a product that is going to be improved upon constantly, as we continue to roll out new features for it. Mm-hmm. I know on the docket are some expansions of the image sizes and some of the dynamicism around the image blocks themselves. But as well improving, some of these integrations around music videos, and the presentation of video is on the list. Overall, this is definitely an exciting sort of look forward for us at Linkfire. And we are excited to see, all types of labels and artists already picking up and utilizing the link type.
And Dave mentioned earlier, I love that, like in this preview, you don't see it, but when you actually pull up the link, the videos will like immediately start playing, like a demo of the video essentially. So like that, like as you're scrolling down the page on our actual bio, you can actually see these videos start, and you can like get a good look at what they are. And I believe like even the title above it, music videos, actually goes to the playlist with all of those.
I think we have to.
I have to double check down, but I think it does.
Yeah. Well, like creativity doesn't stop at the music. It goes into everything: the videos, the marketing plan, the branding, the link in bio, all that stuff. So try to push your creativity to the max with all this.
Definitely. And I think that, one of the ways that I like to try and, think about these types of tools is like through, the use case types, and trying to template out or block out ways that I could be using this effectively. So, is this to promote a live event and sort of improve the experience of somebody attending something like a festival? Like, you could make a next gen bio link where you have the set list as far as sort of the set times and the artists for the day, and instead of just having the name of the artist and the link, it could be something like incorporating a music video for each artist, so that there is a visual and a musical example for fans that can quickly decide where they want to go spend their time at various stages. Or maybe it's incorporating some type of cross business promo where you have an artist working with a new vibey restaurant, and you put together the link in bio that serves as both the menu for the event as far as the food goes and the bev, but also, elements of the music and the experience that they're tying together, the behind the scenes things. Some of those.
I also love the idea of using it almost like a program for a live event. Like there could be like the food trucks, you could even put like a map of where the bathrooms are, like all the stuff that you'd want, as opposed to having to, build an entire website out just to have this. Like you can just make a microsite, essentially have all of the details you could possibly need for a live event.
You could put your sponsors like in a link like towards the bottom or something, or big pictures of the sponsors that leads to their website, and just structure it any way you want to. Like for us, we want it for the Upstate Sound. Like we have a bunch of releases. We don't want them all on the Upstate Sounds link in bio. So we have our artists, and that leads to their link in bio, and that showcases their music.
Definitely. Yeah. It can be a little bit like a Russian doll in that regard. Yeah. We did a little bit of like a biothon internally last week. And I had an idea of creating like one of those types of choose your own adventure type experiences where like you select one of the elements of the story on one of these buttons, and then it pushes you to the next sort of point of choice. Pulled up here from you guys your EDM label and how you changed up the branding and the approach to match this imprint. I think that the specificity of our stories and of our brands are really the things that hook people in and keep them sort of in the know. And so
check out the folklore one. That's a little bit more really tailored towards that that genre. Where
you can sort of just dig in and impress upon those things you think are important to express around your brand.
See, there's like the fonts and stuff we were talking about.
And I like that Linkfire is cool with putting in the Instagram fonts, that it reads it, which is cool because it helps with the aesthetic with everything.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that these are living on those premier platforms, I think it's important to tie some of those elements together. So just even great to be thinking in that type of mindset and understanding like where our audiences are slightly different. What's different about our fans on TikTok than, our fans on Instagram or on YouTube or at our shows, at our record signings, and how can the experience sort of be different for them to elevate that much further.
Yeah. Yeah, the other nice thing too, actually, if anyone's huge into marketing, something that's good about having the link in bio is you can actually like direct ads towards just the bio itself, and by doing that, you can actually it filters out bad clicks, because if you want them to get someplace, you send them to a directory first, essentially, of all the stuff they could potentially click on. So if they make it through this, it kind of disqualifies people who would be uninterested and only qualifies people who click through. So it's a really good tool for truly finding your audience, which is great.
Yeah, I think that's a really great shout. Whereas just like the name of tools sometimes can direct our action sometimes, like, hearing a tool is a sort of link in bio tool can make you think like, oh, I just need to make one link, put it in my bio, and then I'm done. But the reality is that like this is just a really flexible tool in your tool belt that you can use for so many use cases. That to just sort of cover it on one base would be selling ourselves short. I remember my days of coming up in the music industry and working in press and publicity, and how I had to do physical clips of press coverage of artists across digital publications and across physical publications and things. If I could have just made a bio link and had the top press clippings from that week for my artists sort of wrapped directly to the destination and been able to track who clicks on what, that would have been a world of difference making as far as like who to target for exclusives or premieres, or overall see like what resonates with my fans in that regard. So thinking about these types of tools and how they might be, valuable to the individual sort of efforts that we make across these, different priorities we have for promo or for management of these projects.
Yeah, speaking of like the press too, like one thing that we were actually going to check out is looking at, instead of just having the artist bio, we could actually also have a artist EPK that we can specifically send to a select group of people, which I think would also be extremely helpful, because then we can actually track if they went through it, right? So if we work with like a blog or a podcast or a magazine or a newspaper, and we're trying to get this information out there, we can send this to them, and we can even put, activity IDs on them or whatever we want to do to be able to track this information and be able to go, oh, okay, these people actually looked into us, right? Let's follow up with them. They seem more interested. So it's super helpful. I see it more like a mini website builder than I do, just a link page.
Yeah, I think it's super valuable to be able to sort of, have something that works at its core for a specific function, but then also be able to stretch for these other use cases as well. So it's been really great to see you guys, both just dig in creatively and leverage the product, but also be vocal about it. We appreciate, you guys helping spread the word, and are happy to showcase you guys here in a webinar setting like this. We want to incorporate more and more folks who are, utilizing our products and making noise in the space. So hopefully y'all's participation can help us inspire some more folks to show us the cool things that they're making, and see how much more connected we can make our space. And overall, with this bit of excitement, I think we are pushing towards the end of the webinar and towards some time for Q&A actually in our last 10 minutes. So definitely want to jump in and review some of these questions. But to sort of give you all the stage for a moment, Dave and Dylan, would love to just hear sort of a bit about the Upstate Sound and how you're excited or looking forward to maybe leveraging the Next Gen BioLink on some upcoming activations or events. Sort of what's big in the world of the Upstate Sound these days, as I pull up some of these questions.
Yeah, good.
I was gonna say, yeah, one of the big things that I'm interested in using it for is we have a bigger event coming up called High Tech Horror, where we partner, we take our live event company, we actually partner with one of our artists, and then a DJ we've worked with. And essentially, we want to try to make this experience even bigger this year. and being able to use, like you said, like the festival style where we can actually put a bunch of information in here. I think that we're going to be able to use that for marketing efforts when we put posters around town. One thing that I actually do for our marketing is I look for a lot of local calendars and I submit our event to it. But what I can actually do now is I can put different codes on each of these sites, so I can actually track if someone's clicking through that site. So that's going to be super valuable. And being able to create an entire experience where when they land on the page, they know what the show is going to look like. They're not, curious like, oh, what are they going to do? Like, we already have a reel from last year, so we're going to have that video automatically playing. We're going to have information to go to the tickets and purchase. Go to the Facebook page and connect in the discussions and all of that. So definitely going to be using it for live events. That's what I'm excited for.
And another thing I want to do, I was just kind of thinking of, is EJ's on starting his tour coming up this Friday. That's going to go for a few months, and we got some sample merch for his album that's coming up this Halloween. And I want his boys, his squad, to be wearing them at the shows and stuff, so we can start kind of getting the little nugget in people's heads, like, oh, how do I get these? How do I get these? So then at the next show, it's like, oh, just here's a QR code, give us your email, like all that other stuff, like them on Spotify, Apple, and then we put you in a thing and we'll email you like, oh, here's the special link to this exclusive merch that is not going to be sold after Halloween.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that short run topical merch can be really, really powerful. Not only as sort of like moving of the brand and sort of like impressing that culture you want to, but just bringing in revenue that you can reinvest into your campaigns. Like, it's pretty easy to project, if you're printing X amount of merch at X cost, how much you can potentially return to yourselves and reinvest in your next idea.
Yes.
So definitely think that stuff is great to jump on. And jumping into some of these questions for the end of the session, have a question here. When working on a pre-save campaign, do you recommend driving traffic to a bio page with a pre-save link embedded within it, or drive traffic, directly to the pre-save link itself? I think I've got some thoughts here, guys. Anything from you as you sort of take on a question like that for pre-save traffic strategy?
Yeah, for me, kind of like what I mentioned earlier, you might get a lot of like false clicks driving directly to a page by actually having the link in bio. First off, you're filtering out a lot of those bad clicks. This is actually something, there's companies that are even spawning up now trying to eliminate these, basically bot clicks. And by having the link in bio, people have to go there first. Most bots won't let the page load. And so you actually filter out any of those. So anyone who clicks, even if they don't end up pre-saving, you've already filtered them once. So they're going to be a higher quality audience. And you can actually then do retargeting after that based on the fact that they've gone through. So that's definitely a huge thing that I would recommend, is going through the links, even if it's just for that sake. But the other part is that for some people, I might not want to pre-save if I don't have other things to look at. Like, let me see some other stuff about you, right? Maybe you've got a quick music video under the pre-save link if you're doing it in the next gen bio, as opposed to just the pre-save link, right? If you stack those, like we were talking about before, the Russian doll style. So, that's something that you could also use that for.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think that my thought here went to, the style of messaging and the audiences that you're putting together, considering, are you going wide and trying to sort of cover new fans, and how you want to design that experience for them at the top of the funnel? Or are you sort of hyper targeting within an audience you already have and pushing specifically to the audience that has an affinity to, say, Spotify, and pushing them with a direct to Spotify pre-save style link or style of content approach?
So yeah, like if you got an email list, for example, like if you're emailing people who've already gotten your stuff, sure, like send them right there, because like you're just trying to get them to get it quickly, and maybe they're doing it quickly on their phone or whatever. But yeah, if you're doing broadcasting and marketing and you're trying to get new people, then yeah, absolutely, having that extra layer of filtering is super powerful.
100%. So yeah, definitely a couple of things to consider there. There's no sort of one size fits all to the approach. In general, at Linkfire, personally myself, we push for experimentation and, A/B testing things. So, jump into your business managers, Facebook, TikTok, etc. Jump into Linkfire and make, use the duplicate link tool when it comes to the traditional link styles. Use the streamlined nature of making bio links and create the types of experiences that you can actually test against each other for results. The more data and actionable insights we collect, the more we can sort of effectively transition the start of the next campaign, versus trying to sort of like twist the current operations to a certain level of success. But yeah, really great to be thinking about, pre-saves and connecting some of these elements as a whole. So seeing some questions being answered here by my lovely colleague Simona as well in the chat. There's a question here mentioning some of the Apple Music insights and the source of stream data. So some of this will be a collaborative effort between the insights that are collected around your channels and your activity IDs, as well as the exclusive Apple Music insights that are collected as well. So you certainly want to take a look and get familiar with your insights portal in a holistic sense. But as well, when it comes to the Apple Music insights specifically, take a look at the FAQ in our help center around Apple Music insights, because there are some specific definitions around the data points that we collect. For example, the difference between a stream and an ad being a stream of, a product on Apple Music versus an add to library action that has resulted from the link, as well, the difference between direct and indirect products or consumption, whereas consuming something direct from a link means that the fan clicked the Linkfire and immediately started streaming the product associated with it. An indirect product consumption being clicking through a Linkfire link for one artist and going back to some other experience within Apple Music, reverting back to the artist. That would be an indirect flow of traffic. And not to get too into the weeds, we do have the Help Center article that can be helpful, but as well, hitting up business support or our customer success team here at Linkfire can help net you some of those dedicated answers as well. So just sort of checking our questions here as well. When you're creating a label bio link, do you need to create several separate artist bios in advance?
Yes, I was just answering it on there, but yeah, it would make making your bio a lot easier that you have, links to go to.
If anything, I would say you should probably be creating your artist bios first, because your label's irrelevant if you don't have artists. So it's kind of like, it's like if you made a sign with your brand on it, but you haven't even got a product yet, it doesn't make any sense. Like, your artists are the most important thing.
Yeah, I think that understanding sort of your family tree or your org tree, not just sort of internally what you have access to and purview to, but like where you have those connections into the market and the ecosystem, like what partners you have direct access to, what like fans you have of your, your work or what you're doing, and ways that you can potentially elevate your experience with those. In the past, we've highlighted, the ability for, I believe, pro subscriptions and above to create custom service destinations, when it comes to the actual buttons on your release landing page. If you're doing something with an independent retailer or some private third party, you can do those same types of aesthetic additions or, highlight those elements in the new next-gen link in bio. Even that much easier, because you don't need to request that custom service. You can use an image block, for example, and design it exactly how you see fit in real time.
I see one that's who's an artist manager, and they're talking about what would be the difference between like Linkfire and Linktree. And honestly, having used both, like when it comes to like selling a product, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a marketing consultant. I've worked with corporations. Basically, it's problem solution. Like that's really what your pitch is. When it comes to an artist, and we even tell our artists this, that there's 7 billion people on this planet. There's got to be at least 7,000 people that look and sound exactly like you. Exactly, not slight, like exactly like you. So if you're really trying to stand out as an artist, and you're really like, if it's not a hobby, right? Especially if he's got a manager, obviously, if it's not a hobby and you're really trying to make it, you need to create a world that people can come and join. Like, Seth Godin, the godfather of marketing, right? Like this guy talks about building a tribe. People want to feel like they belong. And with Linktree, like you're just not going to get that same capacity. And that's just on the visual end. Then when it comes to the analytics and some of the other options, such as when you're clicking out to music and being able to actually target, like, what is it? Like it goes, Apple and Spotify, like you can click listen and then give them all the options. I'm pretty sure Linktree doesn't have that. And being able to actually expand all of that directly to them, tracking that information, it's so much more powerful with Linkfire.
Another thing with Linktree, I don't know if it's different now. When I was doing my research, because we've been using Linkfire for a while now, each artist had to have their own separately paid plan, I think.
Yeah, you
where
can't.
Linkfire, like even a manager, you have plural artists right there. Like you have more than one artist, and Linkfire can handle all that within their board system that they have.
And not only that too, like if you're trying to create multiple boards, like we mentioned, for example, we want to do it for live events. Like you could create a board for your artist and then create like we mentioned before, like the Russian doll style. You can have a board just for their tour, right? And then that could be like we our artist just went and performed for his name's Big Baby Gucci, and he had like what is it, Summer of Revenge, I think was the name of the tour, right? And that could be a whole page into its onto itself. You could be stacking images from previous events or stacking videos from previous events, and so you need to be able to do that across multiple in Linktree. You'd have to do multiple accounts, right? And so now you're creating all these accounts. You have to pay for each one of them, where with this you can stack your bios, which is way more helpful.
And Big Baby Gucci collabed with a clothing brand designer or something for his tour poster, which maybe you can collab with the same designer and he can make some exclusive stuff for your bio that makes it even more cool. Cool.
Amazing. Yeah, I think sort of to wrap up here as we come to a close on our time, it's about finding ways to action, our brands in the most authentic ways possible and make, both the experience of creating those actionable efforts and as well, like actually, seeing what resonated based on those efforts and how to sort of move forward with them. Some of these tools that we've been pushing out this year, the QR code, the expanded Apple Music Insights, and wrapping up around our Next Gen Bio link, hopefully, and as we've been seeing through some of the efforts of companies like yours, the Upstate Sound, there's sort of this immediate energy to action and to capitalize on some of these avenues. And we're really, really excited about it. I think the last thing I wanted to cover here from our questions, just to mention, that it seems, really nice for people with bigger follower counts and subscribers, but, understanding how to grow from the bottom is still a daunting task. And it certainly is. But, having these various different types of links, finding a seed to start with and to grow from, I think is important. So finding that specific use case or finding that goal that you're pushing towards with your artist or with your brand, and then capitalizing on some of these tools within your Linkfire suite, like the Next Gen Bio link, the QR codes, reward links, pre-save, etc. Those will help you action and then analyze your efforts to keep
also
your tree
on the following too. It's like there's other, like obviously we're discussing the new things from Linkfire today, but there's the reward link, right? So you can, and part of that is getting followers. Like that's what that helps with. So like there's other tools in here that we're only discussing the new stuff. There's still tons of stuff that we use in order to actually take advantage of all the whole Linkfire suite. So
Certainly. And as much as I wish we had, 100 hours to chat on all that stuff, I think our time today for the webinar is coming to a close. I really do appreciate you guys, Dave, Dylan, the Upstate Sound, taking the time today to help impress some of this information and value onto our wider audience. Any last shouts from you guys from Nashville before we close?
Yeah, you can, if you want to hit us up, you can go to our Instagram or anywhere. You can DM us at the Upstate Sound. It's at the Upstate Sound everywhere. You can tweet at us, hit us up on TikTok, comment on us. We try to we try to respond to everybody.
Amazing.
And we're coming from, we want to educate and help anyone who's asking for it. So we do like artist consultations and stuff like that to help them get started. We've chatted with soon to be managers, to help them get them started on like their business ventures and all that stuff. So we're always open to help out in any way that we can, not just our artists, but anyone who's looking for help. So yeah, shoot us a DM and we'll chat.
Amazing. And in the interest of us sort of putting our money where our mouth is, we have a nice slick resource here with a QR code driving to a Next Gen Bio link with some additional resources. I see that Jess has also shared it in the chat as well. But please feel free to take a snapshot, scan, and check in on some of these elements that we're excited about in the world of Linkfire. So overall, thank you to everybody who tuned in from around the globe. We're looking forward to the next webinar coming in the next quarter or so. So please let us know any insights or excitement you have around the next-gen BioLink and any of these tools we've discussed. Looking forward to the next time we can showcase some stuff for you. So cheers, y'all. Hope you have a great day and rest of your week.
Take care, everybody.